So, and the other question. Yes, there's only one speech that I wrote ahead of time, and that's the speech I had in Rochester where I was addressing Lori Daniels Favors, because I was addressing a podcast that she did, and she pissed me off, and I wrote that in my house in like 10 minutes flat. Like, I was so mad, right? And speaking of mad, when I say that I be scared, I be more mad than I am scared. And I think that's kind of sometimes what drives me is my anger. And I know it's not always, I've become good at channeling my anger for good, but it be my anger that really be pushing me to do it anyway. Like, I'll just be like, yo, I'm so mad, I'm scared or whatever, but whatever, I'm mad, So yeah, she pissed me off. I wrote that speech 10 minutes, so I came with that prepared. All the other speeches I wrote on the spot. I write them on the spot because I want to address on the spot. I especially want to address the presenters, because a lot of the presenters be pissing me off. And they just be talking a bunch of nonsense. Speaking of which, I would like to bring Numbers USA in to do a presentation on why immigration has hurt Freedmen foundational Black Americans, and so things like that. I want to hear what they're saying and address what they're saying. That's why, for me, when they were in the business meeting talking about we say the same thing all the time, I don't say the same thing all the time. So I don't know what they're talking about. I address the topic every single time, except for the time with Lori Daniels Favors. I address the topic every single time. So even that, they're not telling the truth. So, those speeches are written in the audience. That's why sometimes I don't even get a chance to hear everybody else's speech, because I'm waiting till after the presentation. I'm taking notes during the presentation on the things that I want to address. And then while people are doing their speeches, I'm pretty much trying to write mine and make sure it's 3 minutes. And I'm trying to read it to myself to make sure I did it in enough time. And I'm trying to edit and do all those things. And my eyes getting old at the same time. So
I hear you. Brother Devine, would you like to answer the question? And Keisha has joined the panel again too.
Yeah,
Hi,
absolutely.
Mila.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to, just thank Brooke for her, tireless advocacy. Like she said, that came. I didn't even know who she was. I remember that happening. I remember some of the kind of noise and around the story of what was going on. Obviously not knowing who she was and not knowing it was her doing the protesting around that nail shop. But I'm just thanking her for her advocacy for the community. Also, just let you know, I'm glad Sister Keisha came back, because I have a hard out about 9:15. So I got about roughly maybe like 10, 11 minutes left.
Okay, no problem.
Going to ask me some more questions. But thank you for helping to allow me to, have my first live panel. It's my first time talking on TikTok. So I thank you for being that as well. But mine, real simple, is the opposite. So the first one I ever went to, I wrote it in the room, like Sister Brooke says she does. And after that, I was like, no, I need to be very formulated with what I want to say. So I go in already knowing what I'm gonna say. Now there are caveats to that, because sometimes as I'm sitting there, something egregious is said or done that needs to be addressed. So then sometimes I will be sitting in there readjusting, because now I got to take something out and make sure it still stays underneath the 3 minutes, which is absolutely ridiculous about the 3 minute time frame anyway. But yeah, that's kind of what I have done So everything you've heard after the first time I was in Albany was something that I wrote knowing that I wanted to say that going in, with the caveat that parts of it could have been edited if it sounds like I'm addressing something that was said early in the meeting, or or someone else's testimony before mine, because sometimes I think once or twice I've done that as well. So yeah.
So before you leave, and since you have to leave, I'm gonna just ask this last question of you. What way could the lineage help you with advocating for us? And what does the future of your advocacy look like?
Oh man, so first and foremost, I would say to help is to do exactly what Breuck is asking to be done at this point. Is to let the biggest issue, right, for us is the language of the bill. We already know we got ops on the task force. We already know that they're trying to do the will of left-wing white supremacy. We have those that are on there that aren't, so I want to be clear about that too. But the emails serve a purpose to highlight what we're saying in those 3 minutes, but more important, to let the commissioners know, and the powers that be, whoever they report to, that they are being watched and that the people are going to hold them accountable. That is huge. That is our biggest weapon in our arsenal, right? Because at this point in time, we don't have the money that is funding them, but they don't have the numbers that we have and that we have the ability to accumulate. They don't have that. That's our secret weapon. So you guys are our secret weapon for the lineage. And so definitely send those emails. They matter. And just a real quick story. That first meeting, that same one I was talking about, where I didn't write my speech and did a freestyle. In that first meeting is the meeting where they voted in Dr. Deborah Jenkins, who is for lineage on the task force, to be the vice chair. But they wanted Dr. Ron Daniels, who is against lineage-based reparations and whose organizations were written into the first iteration of the bill, that the U.S. Freedom Project and the family got together, grassroots, writing emails and letting our voices be heard, that got those Pan-African organizations thrown out of that bill the first time around. So at the end of that meeting, during the vote, Commissioner Louis Daniel Favors was not there. And so there was only 7 commissioners present. And the vote was tied 3-3. And the chairwoman, Chanel Hawkins, had to be the deciding factor. And she voted for Dr. Deborah Jenkins over Dr. Ron Daniels. And it's so crazy because we was in the room, and when she said doctor, I forgot that Dr. Jenkins is a doctor, and I'm also bracing for the worst. So when she said doctor, I'm like, God damn it, it's Dr. Ron Daniels. And when she said Dr. Deborah Jenkins, I was shocked. But at the end, they came up to us and they said, man, like, what was that? What was y'all doing? Because the emails made a difference. We have flooded the email box because we had done a call to action beforehand, because we knew the fix was in it. It was trying to give it to Dr. Ron Daniels at the first meeting when he wasn't even present. So we were like, no, that's an ethics violation. There's codes of conduct that you got to follow according to rules, blah, 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 blah. And because we had flooded that email box with letting them know that we watching you better do it right, that was the deciding factor. So it works, and it is effective on multiple fronts. And for all the other things, and this is not to say that we're Superman or we can do it all, but I want the family to know, those listening now and anybody that listens to the playback, if you do your part and send the emails, you have my word that the U.S. Freedom Project will do our part and take all the momentum that you help us build and fight for the lineage in the way in which it needs to be fought for. That is you have my oath as the president of the U.S. Freedom Project. That's what we will do, and we will continue to do that until reparations is done. And perfect segue to beyond that and after that, because we will get it and there will still be work to be done. And so advocacy in the future is moving us outside of the realms of race. We will be elevated out of race. See, because that's the con game. Like we all hear that talking point about race is a social construct, right? And that is true. Obviously, with real life repercussions and consequences for us because of what they did to us based on race. But when you step outside the confines of race, you find that foundational Black Americans, we are the second largest ethnic group. And again, if that undercount is correct, like Marcel Dixon says, then we might be the largest ethnic group, because right now it's between us and the Germans as far as number one ethnic group in the country. And so that's the real power we have when we elevate from race to ethnicity. We go from being that paltry 13 to 14% of the overall population that they say, you know, based on race. So if we just step outside of race and break everybody down to that ethnic group, which we know is a more accurate category when we're talking about political priorities, we are 2, if not 1. And so keeping us in race is the con game that is ran on us to keep us bound in a bottom class. And that's why this foundational Black American Renaissance is so powerful, because we are upsetting the status quo. We're overturning the table for everybody and resetting the meal and taking us off the menu and having us being the person that dictates what is on the menu. And so that's what it looks like. That's what we'll be doing. And yeah, it starts with those emails.
And so I want to offer my volunteer services as far as like digital marketing, meaning spreading the petition, which I have been doing now. I have like a mini email list that I know even people from the South are trying to help us. They're invested in what happens in New York. So and also my platform, whenever you need to come visit, if I'm live and you just want to jump on and give the good FBA word, or you have a immediate call to action and you just got it and you see I'm live, to feel free and to come through. So I'm extending my volunteer service to you, whatever that may look like. Let me know and we could work on it. Because I have no problem with giving support to grassroots efforts, and I really, really appreciate you, because I felt like an alien walking around here, and it's really horrible to be frustrated and really tapped in, knowing this isn't the land of immigrants. They didn't build this, our ancestors did, but not knowing how to reset it so that we, are in charge of us and combating the ethnocide. So I want to say thank you, Devine, and you have my full support in your efforts here in New York, on the internet, or wherever. If I could get somewhere, boots on ground, I'll be there. I have a really quick question, and I know I got to let you go. Foundational Black Americans, will that be on the state census? What's up with that? Do you know?
So here is again just how important the people power is and how important this disaggregation is. So we already know. Well, maybe some of us don't know. So I'll hope maybe educate or remind a few people. So that level of advocacy is at the federal level, right? To redefine a category at the census, with the census, is at the federal level. And so the Black American grassroots, like what we did was so powerful, right? We had the OMB had listening sessions. And what happened is that the listening sessions were supposed to solely be for the MENA group, because they had been advocating for over 20 plus years, because they wanted to be taken out of whiteness so they can get minority set-asides, because they were getting discriminated against after 9/11. And even though they were, Muslim or Middle Eastern, racially, they were categorized as white. And so because white is not a minority in this country, they couldn't get any set-aside resources or things that they wanted based on being discriminated against. And so those listening sessions that happened roughly about 2 years ago were not supposed to be for us. But in true foundational Black American style, we crashed the party and made them have to add us to a report that they were never going to put out about us at all. And so the overwhelming majority of those comments said, hey, regardless of whatever identifier you advocated for or pushed for, it was clear that those of us that had an ancestor that was enslaved and emancipated in the U.S. desire, need, and demand a separate category for us because we do not have one. See, most people don't even know that we do not have a federally recognized ethnic designation. That's why policies for us are always written with marginalized, historically underserved, people of color. That's why the language looks like that, because we do not have a federally recognized ethnic group that's just for us. African American is a racial term. And so that is the issue that we have. And so that is going to take federal level advocacy. So the good thing is we started out with the original OMB listening sessions. That advocacy is ongoing. Last year in June, was that last year? Yeah, last year in June, the U.S. Freedmen Project was a part of a nationwide coalition that went to D.C. And we met with the OMB officials, and there's some of their major pushback was, well, we don't know what the identifier is going to be, and there was some confusion, and that was just the smokescreen, because I let them know, hey, it doesn't matter we'll figure out what that is, but you guys need to decide and understand there need to be some listening sessions just for us, that we have this and hash this out, and at the end we're talking about delineating us and disaggregating our data at the federal level. The bigger issue, though, is this, and this is what needs to be addressed, and we are open to suggestions on how that gets addressed. We crashed the party, made our intentions known, but it was the legacy organizations alongside the Pan-African organizations that wrote to the OMB and stabbed us in the back for disaggregation at the federal level. It was the Urban League, the NAACP, NAN, Narcan and Cobra, IBW 21, all the usual suspects. They wrote a letter saying, hey, we didn't get a chance to. Now, it's not our fault that they didn't know about the listening sessions, but they took their scraggly behinds in there and wrote to the OMB and said, hey, we didn't get a chance to talk this over with the community. Mind you, the community already responded. So they just talk about the Boule class and the gatekeepers. But nonetheless, they wrote a letter saying, hey, we didn't get a chance to weigh in, so we shouldn't have any of these. We should put all this conversation, all these talks of disaggregation, we need to put it on hold. We have that letter that they wrote just in case anybody needs to see it. Because we don't just be talking just to talk. And so that is who, again, going back to bringing it full circle, before I close out, like I said, getting into this fight, I thought I was going to be up against the right-wing white tea supremacists with the left-wing white tea supremacists right behind them. And unfortunately, they've done a great job in employing their melanated, well, let me not say just melanated, because some of them are they're foundational Black American tools and their Afro immigrant tools. They've combined them together. They come in the form of the Boule and these Pan-African and legacy organizations, and they are our number one enemy. So when people say, well, why you don't got no smoke for the white person? Because I can't see them yet because you in the way. They sent your buck dancing ass out here. Oh, excuse my language. They sent your buck dancing behind out here. So I'm about to clear you out the way, and then I'm going to go handle your paymasters. But I got to get you up out the way first, because you are purposely in the way, sent by them to do their bidding. And so that's who we've been up against, and that's who is stopping us from getting any type of traction, whatever term you want to use, whether it's foundational Black American, American Freedmen, whatever, all the other terms. Obviously we don't subscribe to those, but those other terms, well, some of them anyway, but they all say the same thing. They all, that's the most important part, because that's nothing I've seen on TikTok that I will not engage in. And I'm imploring the family not to engage in. Do not let The black boule and the Afro immigrants make us fight each other over names, over whether you think you're indigenous solely or African solely. Don't even play into those hands. We know they don't give a damn either way. They just want to inject their tribalism onto us and into our community so we do the same thing that they do. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna let that happen. So regardless of whatever the identifier is, we have to deal with those legacy organizations first and foremost, render them obsolete, and we're on our way to doing that because we're centering lineage and they do not. So I'll land there.
Thank you so much, Brother Devine. If you have to exit the stage now, would you like me to drop you? Just know that you could come. I think we need a part two. What y'all say? But if go ahead, Brother Devine.
Yeah, please drop me. Since I don't know how to do it, but
Okay,
yes,
no problem.
I'm down for part 2, part 3, whatever we got to do. Definitely looking to increase the presence over here and learn the lay of the land as we continue to advocate on all fronts.
Well, I got your back. I'll help you get acclimated over here as much as possible. Thank you for coming and joining my panel. Peace, love, light, and reparations to you, Brother Devine. I truly appreciate you. So I think we need a part 2 because I didn't ask about the Puerto Ricans and hip hop yet. I have like 20 questions on my sheet, right? So Breuck.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. What do you think was your most impactful testimony? I already used the example of services rendered. Also, this last one, I got to tell you where I was really like, when you was like, and they were also their lovers. And I said, lovers, oh my God. When you was talking about the West Indians who migrated here may have been enslavers. They came with the enslaved.
So I was talking about the Haitians specifically.
Okay, cool. The Haitians. Tell us that history again, and then tell me what you think was your most impactful statement, or are they all equally impactful in your eyes?
I'll talk about the.
I'm going to say that might have been a stupid question. I'm sorry. I think they're all impactful, but those were the most memorable to me. Mm-hmm.
You ask great questions. Like, yeah, like you really make me think, So the first question, the Haitians. Right. So I was talking about right after the Haitian Revolution, or during the Haitian, because remember the Haitian Revolution was 13 years. Right? People don't realize that. It was a very long time. So during that time, there were white people were white people were trying to flee the island, or the French. Let me say it that way. That'll be easier for the better language. The French were trying to flee the island because of, what was happening there. So when they would flee the island, a lot of them would just come to Louisiana because, Louisiana at the time was owned by the French. And when they left, the black collaborators, if anybody remembers I'm sorry, I just got a text message and it threw me off. If anybody remembers, the Haitians killed, gosh, I keep forgetting the language. The Haitians eliminated the black collaborators first, right? That is, in my opinion, that was the key to their success, right? Was eliminating them for good, right? They eliminated the black collaborators first, and then they went to go see the white tea people, right? And so the collaborators a lot of the times would be the mulatto children, the mixie children, who, especially the women who would then become the lovers of the French, right? And so when the French fled, some of their concubines fled with them. And then when they got to America, they were given their freedom. And because the laws were different, but they were allowed to be free, and they delineated from slavery with their own term called the Creole Jean de Couleur, right? And so this was their delineation. That was them separating themselves from the rest of the people on here that look like them. And they thought they were better, and they were given money and plantations and property by their white French lovers. And a lot of them were plantation owners and slave owners, and were just as brutal and unkind as the white slave owners. And they refused to, of course, marry, even if you're you were descendant of like, say you got your freedom, your family got their freedom somehow, whether they emancipated themselves or they were given some sort of manumission. They didn't even want to really marry or combine bloodlines with anybody from slavery in the US. And there was a really good and how I was turned on to this history was from this movie. I watched this movie when I was a kid, and I just had to keep digging. This movie called Feast of All Saints. When I'm not talking, I'll find the link and I'll put it in the chat. Feast of All Saints. And that movie, it gives you good context on the history, on the time period, things that were happening. Like, it gives you like a good picture of what was happening. And so yes, that is what I was referring to at that time, because they kept saying that the Haitians came here to help fight, and that is I'm not going to say that maybe one or two did not, but the overwhelming majority of people, of the Haitians that came to New Orleans or to Louisiana, did not have that in mind. Like I said, they had their own ethnic group called the Creole Jean de Couleur. I know I'm not, doing it with the right accent, but that's what they were. So they were not trying to join with us, fight with us, help liberate us, none of that. As a matter of fact, they owned slaves. And so if we're talking about reparations, then they would be reparations payers, not reparations receivers. Because it stands to question, because they did mention what was it, the guy that y'all were talking about, the Haitian guy who came up and was talking about
Afro-descendant immigrant. He's an
him.
Afro-descendant.
Thank you so much, BX. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. No problem.
That one. When they were talking about that, he also mentioned the fact that slave owners were given reparations for losing their property. So if I question, did those Haitians receive reparations from the U.S. government for being slave owners? I don't know. But that is an interesting question. So, not only do they not deserve our reparations, but they may have received reparations from the U.S. government already because they were slave owners.
Wow. So I see Afro. One moment, Breuck says that he has to go. So Afro, if you want to give your final words, I do want to say thank you for sitting here and providing your insight. But is there anything that you would like to contribute based off of what you heard, or just something you think we should know?
First off, I want to thank you, and I want to thank you all for this. This has been very informative, and I appreciate all of the hard work and advocacy that you guys have done and are doing. Based off of the last few things that I've heard thus far, I want to say I think that this conversation further illustrates why delineation is so necessary and so important. All right, because these people are bending over backwards and misconstruing history in order to tie themselves into our lineage. Um, I'm sorry. They're doing that so they can misconstrue. They're tying themselves into our lineage because they understand that we have a justice claim here. And I want everybody to listen and hear me when I say they believe we're gonna win. Everybody knows that we're going to win. Everybody knows that we're going to get it. So it's not a if, it's a win. It's just at this point, it's a win. As long as we keep doing what we're doing, it's a guaranteed win. And that's where they're trying to, I guess, stake their claim right now. Because before, a lot of them didn't want anything to do with us, especially not our lineage. They like to participate in the culture, but they did not want to associate with the lineage at all. They wanted to make sure that their lineage was very distant and very distinct from our lineage. They were boastful about that and unapologetic. Now all of a sudden they're bending over backwards talking about bricks came from this place, and if it was made to build this building, so we technically do have some claim. They're talking about like Brooke just was talking about how they came over in Louisiana, so there's a lot of Haitian Creoles, and to be honest, that story is told out of context, and it's kind of told in a very disingenuous manner as well too. So this further goes to illustrate why delineation is 100% necessary. I'm gonna say that. I don't. I'm gonna put it that way. I'm gonna land right there. I'm gonna land right there because I do have to leave.
Again, thank you for coming, Afro. I appreciate you too, your guidance, your knowledge, and the way that you support me. I do. I appreciate you so much. And I'm 50, and I gotta tell y'all, I don't want to call them those generations, younger than me, have been so supportive of me, y'all. And Afro is one. Thank you, Afro Lee, for all that you do for the community as well. I appreciate you.
Thank you all. You all have a good night.
You too. I'm waiting for Afro to drop, and then I'm going to say, oh, yes, it's ladies' night, and the vibe is right. Hi, Miss Halo. I was interviewing Sister Breuck and Brother Devine. You probably seen the video circulating from the New York reparations hearings.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah,
so that's what we were in here talking about. How are you?
I'm fine. I haven't really been on TikTok today, but
Okay.
I'm on it today right now. So,
hmm
how is everybody doing though?
We're good. We were just talking. You got to catch the replay. Are you subscribed to my YouTube channel? I have a YouTube channel.
The screw. Oh, you have. I didn't know that. Can you?
I will,
What is it called?
BX Network.
Oh, gotcha. I'm gonna subscribe.
Thank you. So you could catch these replays. And then you could get the real of New York too. These are the women standing on lineage business here. But I wanted to tell Brooke, right? You've become the warrior sweetheart of the reparations hearings. Your videos do circulate. And what I noticed is, like I brought up the ability to answer an expert who has spoken. Can you tell me what is your most memorable expert and a visitor from another ethnic demographic who has kind of tried to latch themselves on? And what do you say to people who think like that person you're about to mention?
Wait, I'm gonna answer the first question because I didn't really understand the second one.
No problem.
Most memorable.
Hmm.
I'm gonna be honest. I be forgetting them right after I. I don't. I'm shocked. I guess I be shocked that the family finds them memorable. I just be speaking, and sometimes I, I just appreciate that you guys feel that way about what I'm saying. So the reverence and stuff that you've shown to the things that I've said, I don't know if I've ever thought about it that way. Like I'm just mad as hell. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? Reacts like I just be mad.
Me too. I don't know how you do it.
I just be mad. So I just, just be saying, what's on my heart and stuff like that. So I don't I never looked at what I'm saying as memorable. So I don't even know how to whatever you guys, because that's what it's really about. Because I'm speaking on behalf of my entire family. Keisha talk about she be trying to keep me calm. Yeah, I just be mad. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll be upset and I be wanting to fight, and so I be trying to fight with my words. Since I can't do anything else. And I would never do anything illegal. Let me make sure I state that on the record. So I fight for us in the legal way. So yeah, it's whatever y'all feel is most memorable. I tell me whatever y'all, cause and I'll try to do more of that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I know I didn't really answer it, but because I don't really know what to say. You,
It's okay.
I'm
So
not gonna.
when I say
I don't know what to say.
it's all right. When I say most memorable person who has, I mean, stepped to the podium. Like for me, it was the first Afro Latina that I saw. Or she could have been a black woman married to a Latino, who knows? But she says the reparations could really help the asthma. She was talking about the asthma rates in the South Bronx. Mind you, all three of my children have asthma, and I raised them in the South Bronx. So I get it. But that wasn't the time for her to come up and say reparations should be good for black people and marginalized groups. I really wished I was there to throw a shoe at her head. Another memorable person who came up to the podium to speak on reparations was that Miss Bowman, talking about the intra-America slave trade and how they took Jamaicans from Jamaica to New York for rum and all this other stuff back and forth. And I'm just looking at them like, are they serious? But I noticed with Miss Bowman that the Caribbean showed up wanting to be on the bill after CARICOM was told no by the Brits at the UN in April of 2025. So that's what I mean by most memorable, because I do want to know what is the energy like. And I believe Miss Bowman, uh, DW was there too, and I could just imagine. I was like, dang man, I don't know how I would do it. So I'm kind of waiting to physically go in towards the end after everybody played their hand, because by then nothing could surprise me the way Miss Bowman and that Afro Latina did. I land. Go ahead, bro.
I got one better for you, honey. All right. The most memorable testimony was the young girl who came who didn't speak English. I don't know if anybody remembers that. I think that was in Harlem.
With her granny? No.
She was talking
Her
about her
granny?
granny. I think she
Right.
was talking about her granny. If I remember correctly, I think she was talking about her granny. And nobody was trying to, I don't remember what she said specifically or whatever, but I remember that. I think to me, I was like, no, they did not have the nerve to come up in here talking about reparations and try to make it about immigration. And we was not having that at all. So, like I said, I really don't remember what she with all of what she said, but I just remember, like, how dare you don't even speak English? Like, she had to have an interpreter. Like, get your behind up out of here. So, like, the audacity, the unmitigated gall of that situation is what shocked me. But we've had a lot of characters throughout the time. You know, people bringing up hip hop, people bringing up, I mean, everything under the sun. We've heard it all. Oh, reparations should be Snicker bars. You know what I mean? Just all kinds of dumb shit. You know what I mean? So, like, and when it comes to that, nothing really surprises me anymore about the what they will try. But what I will say is, you know, with all of this, I think when people see the opposition that we're against, it's like it seems overwhelming. But we, you know, the Freedmen Project, before I even got there, has persevered when they were a smaller group. You know, each and every one of us have done things individually and persevered, and now we are all together. They don't have a chance. Y'all don't like, I know, you know what I'm saying? And that's initially why I started posting us, because I realized I just got tired. I got tired of hearing the New York slander. A lot of people have New York in their mouths all the time about what we not doing, what we allowed, what we let happen, blah, 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 blah. But y'all ain't here. And so I felt that it was important. That's why I did that interview with President Devine at that time, because I thought it was important. One, you know, I didn't want people to feel like I'm like the U.S., like I'm taking over the U.S. Freedmen Project. I needed people to understand that the U.S. Freedmen Project was in existence before I knew, and was doing work before I knew who they were. Before anybody knew who they were, I needed people to know all that the elders at the U.S. Freedmen Project, Reverend Coachman, Annette, I needed people to know all that they had done before I even met a single one of them. And now that I have met them all, we will move forward strong. You know, and so yeah, I need people to understand, like, it seems like a lot, but we're so powerful that they had to have an entire business meeting about how to shut us up. Do y'all understand? As Jason Black says, this is good. So we got this over here, you know, and what we need from the family are these emails. You know, President Devine, he mentioned earlier about the emails that were sent from Earn and Net's group on Twitter and others. The emails that were sent just about who we wanted to be the vice chair made a difference. This is why we altered, or we came up with the strategy that we have now, because we saw that the emails work. We're not pulling things out our behind. We're not pulling things out of the sky. We are learning in real time what to do, how to do it, and how to make it work. We tried that whole email thing. That worked. She told us it worked. So now we're going to kick it up a notch. So now don't just email the commission. The email campaigns that each one is less than 30 seconds. We made it as easy and as fast as possible for the family. You don't have to come up with your own verbiage. The letter is, or it's a form letter. Okay? All you have to do, there's 4 links right now, and I'll be adding another link in the future so we can get in the future I will be adding a link so that we can get Numbers USA to do a presentation. You know how they do presentations every hearing? We want Numbers USA to do a presentation on how immigration has hurt Black Americans, has hurt the freedmen, has hurt foundational Black Americans. This is why I mentioned that that is going to be our next push. We're working on getting those emails to, be as quick as the other form emails. So we're working, me and President Devine are working on that in the back channels. Okay. So that will be coming up soon. But right now, on the link that I keep sharing, right? Mm-hmm. The Breuck call to actions link. That link will take you to 4 links, right? I have put in there, I put the bills in there. If you want to read them yourselves, we are completely transparent. Okay? I even put the links to the bill so you could read them yourselves. I put the link to the bill that's unconstitutional in there, and I put the link to the bill that is constitutional, that is constitutionally sound by our superhero. Wait, because we ain't even mentioned Nikki Lucas. I got to take a stop. She is our super FBA Freedmen hero, Nikki Lucas. She is the one who brought the Freedmen's Project. So when all these other people talk about that they have the only bill, the U.S. Freedmen Project bill, nobody else. I see other people trying to take credit for what President Devine and the elders at the Freedmen Project did even before I got there. I see people doing that. I am extremely protective. See, President Devine be having couth. But when it comes to protecting the Freedmen, President Devine and the Freedmen Project and the elders at the Freedmen Project, that's another time when I turn into a rabid dog. You will not take credit for the work that they did tirelessly with nobody even knowing what they were doing. You will not. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. And like I said before, anybody in my way, foreign or domestic, I'm laying you down. And this is why they don't take me to the meetings to go meet with the assembly people and the senators and stuff.
I feel it. You see, I
decline to go. I'll be like, y'all do that. Y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody have their role. Everybody's good at something. I'm not good at being composed. I'm not. I get upset. I get angry. I channel my anger to what I need to do. I know my role. Everybody has their place. And like I said, my place is the rabid dog. If you take credit for what President Devine has done and the elders at the Freedmen Project have done, I'm coming for your neck. Foreign or domestic. So, they have been putting in that work for so long. And I just felt like it was important that people know all the things that they have done. And I'll land there.
So, I had to make sure I wasn't on mute. I feel that, because I feel the same way. Don't take credit for our work. New York is very big on originality, no biting, freestyling. To kind of venture into. But Keisha, I do want to know from you, Who was your most memorable expert, and who was your most memorable other ethnic group to step up to the podium? Matter of fact, you could even mention a Pan African if you want to. But I think for the most part, it's been the other demographic, non FBA, even if they don't identify as FBA, groups that have surprised me with their greediness.
For me, none of the experts are memorable. I challenge all of the historians that they bring before us because they have a habit of not being consistent with enslavement and what happened in that time period. They always drift off to redlining and other things, and that allows other groups to grandfather them, cause themselves into our reparations. And so a lot of the historians that they choose really bother me. And for the first time that I was able to question them, I asked, why don't you talk about the New York kidnapping clubs? Because that would alleviate them having to continue on down this path that they continue to do. It's important because you had a lot of people visiting New York, a lot of free Black people visiting New York who were kidnapped and sold into slavery. And it was, I'm not talking about a couple of thousand, I'm talking about hundreds of thousands. Between New York, Boston, and Philadelphia, hundreds of thousands. I personally have an ancestor who was a free Black man, traveled to New York, was kidnapped, and sold into slavery. They totally disregard that history. And then, when we were in Brooklyn earlier this week, I had a written statement, but I changed it because I saw what happened during the business meeting. But, for example, they were in Brooklyn. Why didn't they talk about Crow Hill? There was no mention of Crow Hill. Peter Stuyvesant. We was in Bedford-Stuyvesant. Peter Stuyvesant was the governor during the time when that area, now named Crown Heights, was called Crow Hill. You have prominent Black, elite Black, free Blacks living in that area who were displaced by gangs, by fires, and then the area was resettled, and the Jewish community and the immigrant community, Black immigrant community, came into that area, and nobody ever talks about this history of Crow Hill. So immigration is complicit in our displacement. And Sister Brooke mentioned, trying to get another organization to give us the numbers. But the numbers are already here. They're in the Brooklyn Historical Society and the New York Historical Society. That's how I found out about these kidnapping clubs, by going to the Historical Society. Excuse me. And you had a governor who, this area that you all had a meeting at, Peter Stuyvesant, who allowed these kidnapping clubs to flourish. You had prominent Blacks like Henry Highland Garnett, who lived on Halsey. He was a victim of an attempted kidnapping. And so they alleviate this history because with enslavement, you have to talk about free Blacks who were kidnapped while traveling through this area. You cannot leave that historical record out. Forget about the redlining part. Forget about the Jim Crow part. We're talking about a debt owed for services rendered, as Brooke said. They totally disregard that part, and it really ticks me off to no end. And I don't like it. I don't like it. So I challenge all of the historians that come and give a presentation. Now, some information they do give, For those who don't know, but I am well versed in the history of my city. Well versed. So the information that they do provide, it may be helpful to some folks, but I'm way beyond that. Way beyond that. And I will challenge any and all historians. Bring me your best, and I will destroy you because I know my city. I know this history very well. Now, when it comes to memorable folks of other ethnic groups, I believe it would be Rochester. When you had a Puerto Rican um, legislator or city council person in that area, he said, and I quote, "We're not even supposed to be here. We shouldn't have a say in any of this." That was the only other person from any other ethnic group that I heard speak like that. Never again since. But I told Sister Brooke when we were on our way up there to Rochester, which is 7 hours away, um, I told her this area is very racist. And if you don't think that they know who you are and you're on your way up there, you're sadly mistaken. And we had a little wake up call. I'll keep that between us. But we had a little wake up call. They know who you are, especially with the voices that we had. They didn't want us to come up there. That's why when the meeting took place in Ithaca, they came with busloads. They had a bunch of children who came up to give testimony. One little girl talked about her Arab culture being demonized during 9/11. What the hell does that have to do with the history of, of slavery in New York? Nothing. But they wanted all of these. I don't give a damn if it's a child. Listen, I will check a 3-year-old when you come for mine. You and your mama. So they thought they was doing something good, but they tried to throw a dagger. And that's why they had that business meeting, because they knew they had to come to Brooklyn. They tried to change the game. Our ancestors are right in line. You want new voices? We got something for you. We got something for you. So that's why I curtailed what I had written, because I wanted FBA media to be the representatives of our voices. They said they were looking for new media outlets. They have a $5 million budget. Why shouldn't they go to FBA?
Right.
So I curtailed it because I knew Brooke had already done the job. Devine had already done the job. Paris, Melrose, and others. Fish and Grits, others. They already did the job.
Hmm.
So I said, let me come in and give my spiel about independent black media, FBA media. Because one of the media outlets that they mentioned during their business meeting was Caribbean Life. What the hell would you listen? I'm not on my watch, like Brooke said, not on my watch. But for me, I try to give historical reference to the people that we are dealing with in the room, to Devine and Sister Brooke. And I think I do a good job of letting them know who they are in the room with. Because I know these people's history in New York. None of them could tell me anything. When we were at the Schomburg, I told them they all were compromised. And Sister Brooke will tell you that one organization, they came up to speak after me. They didn't call me a liar. They may not like what I said, but none of them could say I'm a liar. Not Ron Daniels, not what's her name, Jones. None of them. None of them. Because I know your history. That's why I also mentioned her father. I was in that sanctuary in 1988. I was 18 years old. I was there. I said it because I wanted her to understand your father will be pissed off with what you doing here. Your father and his brother Lewis Clayton Jones will be pissed off with what you doing here. So after I said what I said, I went outside. I was talking to people outside, and then the meeting ended. And as the commission came out, one by one, they came up to talk to me. They could have talked to anybody. I didn't ask to speak to them because they know I know. You see? So, like Brooke said, we snatching down everybody who's in our way. And like I told her and Devine, I'll take the hits for y'all. Because they can't throw nothing my way. How come every time I challenge Ron Daniels, he don't say a goddamn word? I challenge his crew December 12th. They ain't say a damn word because they know what time it is with me. I know them all. I know where the bodies are buried. I know how you get your bread. Who's sleeping with who? Yeah, I do know. So they don't say nothing. But when it comes to the history of this city, I'm well versed. So they can't teach me nothing. And I land there.
Yeah, I was looking for the sound effect button. So I want to kind of wind down the interview. Unless y'all got somewhere to go, I could talk to y'all all day. I really sat here and wrote like over 20 questions. This is my first double interview, and then Keisha came up, and then it was a triple interview. So I want to extend my gratitude to the U.S. Freedmen's Project, Brother Devine, Sister Brooke, and also Keisha of Thorough Black Talk Worldview. Hey, Blue. So my final two questions for tonight. Also, I want to extend the invitation for U.S. Freemen's Project. You know, y'all three, my faves. Also, Melrose Radio to kind of have like a New York panel where we just discuss something or expound on with this next question, which is hip hop is widely recognized as a foundational Black American art form. After the 50th anniversary of hip hop, some groups, including Puerto Ricans and Jamaicans, have claimed to have created elements such as breakdancing, graffiti, or even the art form itself. Do you agree or disagree with these claims? And you can feel free to expound on it. Brooke.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know it was for me. Okay. Of course I disagree with those claims. I mean, and the truth be told, the people who even said it, they disagree too. They just saying stuff because, they want to grift onto what we have done. So this has already been proven time and time again. I mean, it's just, look, like I said, I grew up in East Flatbush, very immersed in Caribbean culture. And like, if they play like a hip hop song at a soca party, oh, it's over. Don't nobody want to hear that because it's not part of their culture. You know what I mean? If they play, R&B at the soca party, they don't want to hear that. You know why? Because it's not part of their culture. So they is they know what's up and they know that they're lying. But as with anything else, there's checks involved, there's money involved, and for lying they get paid. And we see that to be evident. Look at now, people are getting invites to certain places. Fat Joe was invited to the White House by Kamala Harris when she was vice president. So we see that there are definitely perks and benefits to lying, and that's why they're doing it. I volunteered at the showing I was so invested in that. I volunteered at the showing of Microphone Check to just check people in, do it, to get people to see something so powerful. And I brought a Caribbean friend I bought a ticket for a Caribbean friend of mine, and even they after coming out of that was like, well, I mean, ain't no question now. You know what I mean? Like, it was so thorough. And then even on top of, you know, seeing something like that that was so thorough, so you know, that's a you know, shameless plug for Tariq's microphone check. That is a must see. Then to go on further, like, because you know that interest, because I'm not originator of hip hop old, you know what I mean? I'm not that much up there, but I'm not young either, you know what I mean? But I'm not quite up there with my big bros and my big sisters, you know what I'm saying, up there. But so that movie like turned me or put me on to people like DJ Faze. And I really implore people to, his name is DJ PHSE, right? PHASE, sorry, DJ Faze, right? DJ Faze's page on YouTube is very important because he also reaffirms some of the things that I've heard Keisha talk about when it comes to the Puerto Ricans. He talks about that he was a baby spade at like 8 or 9 years old. And the reason why he joined the baby spades is because the Puerto Ricans were trying to, you know, were beating him up on his way to school. And he's 8 years old. We're not talking teenagers. We're not talking adults. He was 8 years old, and he could not. They was giving him they wouldn't have let a baby go to, because the 8-year-old is a child. That's almost a toddler. You know what I mean? You wouldn't let the 8-year-old go to school. This is the problem that our family was having with these Puerto Ricans when they were dropped in our neighborhood. As Sister Keisha says, with immigration comes gentrification. They were dropped in our neighborhoods. And they were just as racist as the white tea supremacists, just with no power. So he talks about how he had to join the baby spades just so he could get to school, and they protected him and taught him how to fight and all of these things. So and they are that first generation that put, you know, a lot of the elements together for these Cool Herc and all of these people. They're like second and third gens. They're not first gens. They're second and third. So, you know, and then Sister Keisha, that interview you did with Sister Keisha where she revealed that documentary, you know, I watched it, because let me tell you something. Anything that Sister Keisha say read or watch is on my list, because I already know that anything she's telling me to read or watch is only going to increase my knowledge. So, you know, when she mentioned that documentary in your interview, I went straight after the interview to go watch it. And that one was deep, where they talk about how the innovations and how we built the speakers, how some of us hold patents to some of the components of the speaker boxes and things like that, because we were the first ones to do it. So it's real wild when you get this, you know, these, you know, these people that are lying, but we all know why they're lying. Like I said, there's a check involved, there's money involved, and that's it. At the end of the day, we know that there are certain people, and we, you know, that will do anything for a check, anything for money. And I'll land there.
Sister Keisha, can you tell us the name of the documentary again for those who will catch this playback?
Which documentary you talking about?
Others in hip hop or something like that.
I think it's what's the name of the daggone thing? Oh man, the founding fathers of hip hop.
That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. You can get it. And there's a lot of DJs in there. But I knew, you know, they had transitioned, like DJ Lance and, you know, DJ Shabazz, and I knew them cats, you know. So
Yeah.
definitely check out the founding fathers of hip hop. I think it's called Founding Fathers of Hip Hop, Founding Fathers, The Untold Story of Hip Hop. Um, but you know, let me just mm, I don't want to get emotional right now, but I live on a street in Brooklyn that is an African burial ground. That means ancestors are buried under my home. They were buried here, okay? Under Dutch colonialism. They are buried here. In fact, at the corner, I think Charles Barron had it changed to African Burial Ground Way. But all throughout that corridor, this corridor was a burial ground. And they didn't remove all of those bones. So I see things very clearly. I'm always researching our story, especially here. I got two great grandmothers that are buried in a cemetery 2.5 miles from my house. They are both put in an area that was exclusive for black people, meaning you couldn't be buried anywhere you wanted at a particular time then. Now you can, but back then you couldn't. And they are literally a few feet from each other. Now they were already transitioned when my parents, because my parents were young when both of their grandmothers passed away. So they didn't know each other. But look how everything works. They are both buried right next to each other. And I'm having to find their grave with some paperwork that I got from my relatives. They didn't know each other back then. But look at God. Their grandchildren got together, got married, and had me. 2.5 miles. When I was searching for a home in Brooklyn, there were three options. My husband and I settled on this one where I live now. It's crazy how things work. So I don't do this just to be for nothing. I'm fighting for my family right here. Their uncles, my great grandmother's uncles, both sides fought in the Civil War. I have certificates from the African American Civil War Museum in DC for both of them. I have a copy of written document from one of them when he joined the Freedmen's Bureau. Nobody can't tell me nothing. That's why I researched the history of this city so thoroughly. Because they had a story to tell here. You see how this works? And that's why, a lot of us, especially UBX, do this genealogy work for real. I'm not talking about happenstance. I know that the Caribbean and the Jewish community displaced Black Americans in Crown Heights. I know that to be factual because it's documented. Why don't these historians that they choose talk about that? Because if you do, it puts Kathy Hochul and her party on the line because they were co-conspirators, the Democratic Party, in these kidnapping clubs. They were co-conspirators. They allowed it to flourish. Members of the party were part of these kidnapping clubs. There were judges here in New York that were part of these kidnapping clubs. You have to uncover all of that. And they don't want to. That puts the Democratic Party on the hook. That's why nobody talks about this history. You don't hear no historians, black that is, talk about these kidnapping clubs. They rather go on to redlining and all kind of stuff. Get out of here with that. When Craig Carr and Ray Wimbush was at the Schomburg, they barely got out of their line. People wanted to rough them up heavy. Who could tell you that? They almost got their head busted. Man, we in a divine time right now. And I'm telling you, everybody who's in our way, you're gonna get run over. You're gonna get run over. I don't care who you are. Who you are. It's up for everybody. Either you're on code with us or you're not. And if you're not, it's up for you too. They don't talk about them black senators who fought so that they, man, listen, I can go on a tangent. I won't. But I'm just fed up and frustrated because I know the history of my city. I know the history of my borough. And I don't play about it. I don't play about it. Church and Flatbush. The corner of Church and Flatbush. That whole area was an African burial ground. They didn't talk about that. When you move down towards Livingston Street, downtown Brooklyn, that's where the American Indians were buried. On Spring Street, they were buried there. Matter of fact, when they built that hotel, I think it's called um starts with a D, but it used to belong to the Trump Empire. Trump sold it when he ran for president the first time. When they were building that hotel on the corner of Spring and Barrett, two construction workers lost their lives. They fell off the scaffold. Nobody had to tell me that because I was there. Police came to our office to interview all of the employees there. Because when their body fell, they hit the window. And when they went down to get those two men, bones of our people were buried there. And they try to cover up the story. But you see, I'm a hunter investigator. We own that land. When black people got free from the Dutch, they purchased that land to bury their loved ones. All along Varick Street, our people are buried there. Midtown Manhattan is another place. Our people are buried there. Downtown Manhattan, Soho, Washington Square Park, our people live there. What was it before Washington Square Park? Called Land of the Blacks. They named themselves black. People say we shouldn't be black. No, our people said we are. So I get frustrated and I get annoyed. And every time I see them historians that come up there, they kick me off because I see what they're doing. That's why I asked them, what parameters were you given for this piece by the commission? Because when it's all said and done, in 18 months, I believe, when it's all said and done, you know what? We got a right to sue them. And we may have to do that because I see what they're doing. So I'm in there, but I'm pissed off.
Me too. And as soon as you started talking, I was like, why didn't I get a pen and paper? I always got to remember to get a pen and paper. But that with the two white tea people that fell off, I guess it would have been a scaffolding or something. And I actually was it the ancestors, right? I think it was the ancestors. They wanted to be found, and I really honestly believe that it's the ancestors now. That's having a lot of people wake up to the harms of Pan Africanism. Is there room to improve? Yes, and there's room for more people to wake up. But for the most part, we are on a good path. I feel really strongly about it. And I do believe it's divine timing, as Keisha stated earlier, that we are meeting now, or maybe Brooke said it. Well, we all saying it now, right? And so I want to thank you, ladies, for the hard work that you do. And in the chat, Keisha, they did say, when are you writing a book? Because of the wealth of knowledge that you have.
You know, everybody has asked me that for years. You know, at one time I used to lecture on modern day lynching. Oh man, I should have said that. But anyway, I used to lecture on that. And I had one of the largest databases. And I'm not talking about pew-pewings from people, but I'm talking about actual rope around the neck. And in particular here in New York, it was happening in the mid 2000s. Upstate, okay, in Queens. I want y'all to look up this story, "Woman in the Iron Coffin." That's the oldest black um what do you call it? Remains that were found in Queens of a black woman. Look it up, "Woman in the Iron Coffin." Look it up. But I'll tell you this, family, we are on the right path. I never felt so right in all my life. And I've been doing community work since I was 12 years old. The book that
Wow.
I am writing is on my life, what I've seen, what I've been a part of. From 12 years old, I've been active. As a child, my stepfather used to mandate us to read at least 5 newspapers a day. Reading is my life. That's why I'm blind now and wear glasses. Because I do this for real. I took Sister Brooke and Marcia to J.P. Morgan's personal museum and library. Read the story about his librarian, Belle DaCosta Green, who her father was, how she passed for white. When we got to the museum, I warned them. I said, let me tell you something. Security gonna be on your tail. Brooke can confirm what I'm saying. And you can count the number of people who look like us who are visiting that museum. And there's a lot of people who look like that, look like us as security, but not who go there. Black people been living in this city all their lives, never knew this place existed. I said they gonna build you tough. Ask Brooke what happened when her fingernail touched one of the glass. Ask her. I don't gotta make up nothing. They don't want us to know this story, but it's there in writing for all of us to see. I get membership in these places so I can get access to these archives. I can keep my $1,000 in my damn pocket. I wish I had 20,000 so I can get on the board.
Hmm. Did you have that board meeting? Did you attend? Didn't you say you was trying to get on one board, Keisha?
Yeah, I had to reschedule it because of health issues. So I
Hmm.
had to reschedule it. So they said they're gonna give me a couple of months and they will
Okay.
schedule it for me to get on the Juneteenth board because I saw some stuff I didn't like. I don't like something. Listen, I will call up in a minute. This ain't right. And when I get to talking, oh, you should join us. Great. How do I do that? We went to I took Sister Marcia to the New York Historical Society. I said, I'm gonna tell you something. It's not a place like a regular museum. You gonna see some things. It's gonna blow your mind. Look at the people around you. Watch how they look at you because they ain't used to seeing you here. When you come in that place, let me tell you something. There's a statue of Frederick Douglass at the entrance. I said, why would they put a statue of Frederick Douglass at the entrance of the New York Historical Society? And he's pointing eastward towards Central Park. And right at the entrance of that park was Seneca Village. If you don't know how to connect the dots, you'll miss all of that. When you go in there, the first exhibit is on Fred Douglass. I didn't know until I started going there that Frederick Douglass advocated for the Asians in composite immigration. It's there. The first Democratic voting ticket when black men got the right to vote. On the top of the ticket, it said no Negro rights. The Democratic Party has always been against black people. Just look at the history of all the presidents who were Democrats. I let Sister Breuck know. Get out for yourself, and it will blow your mind, and it will make you pause. Like, how could I have ever voted for a Democrat? They have always been against us. And I know why. Because they're covering up their own deeds that they did. They lullaby us to sleep with melodic talk. That's all it is. It's melodic talk. Meanwhile, they help themselves and everybody else. The displacement of black people came by way of the Democrats. Please, I beg y'all, look at the history of the president. Matter of fact, when you go to the New York Historical Society, they have an exhibit called The Hall of Presidents. You can learn something about every president in the United States. They have a replica of the Oval Office. You can go in there and take pictures. They allow you to sit at the Oval Office replica like you're at in Washington, D.C., and you can take pictures there. But our people don't go to these places. You don't see the history that they have. And they damn sure don't have membership. Because every time I go in there, I'm the only one. The only one. One day I was in there with a friend of mine. And we were going through and I'm telling her the history of certain exhibits. And this brother, well-to-do, wealthy black man who live on Central Park West, he overheard us talking. And he asked me, he said, my family is coming to New York. Would you mind giving us a historical tour when they come back? I said, look, I don't be doing this. He said, I will pay you handsomely. He said, I'm asking you to do this for me. So I went and I had lunch with him and his wife. And he paid me very well to do a tour for an hour and a half. And he told me then, he said, you need to be paid for your knowledge here. He said, because I would have never known all of this. I told my friends, we were in Baltimore at the Great Blacks and Wax Museum. And I said to them, do you want to know the written history or the real history? Of course, these sisters like, we want to know the real history. So as we're going through the exhibits, I'm telling them what it really was. Other people surrounding us overheard, left the curator they was following and followed behind us. People do want to know the truth. When I got finished with the group that I was with, the manager at the museum, he said, we'd like to offer you a position here. I said, sir, I would never live in Baltimore. That is never going to happen. He said, you don't live here? I said, no. He said, oh my God. He brought me to the back, showed me the plans, how they have bought the next block over. How they plan to expand the museum. He said, we would love to have you here. So I'm not telling y'all this to be telling y'all that. I'm well versed in our story. And a lot of time, a lot of money researching our story. That alone, I deserve reparations. So when I come to these hearings, it's all rhetoric to me. It's all rubbish. Because I already know what it is. know what the Democratic Party is all about. I know their complicity and what happened with us. They owe us more than anybody. And since 1984, all we've gotten is a damn study. And that annoys me to no end. I land there.
Thank you for that, Keisha. I'm up to my final question. Then we can do our vibe check if y'all have enough time. It's just a series of questions, like multiple choice questions, really fast to answer. So finally, are the boycotts still in effect, meaning the African hair braiding shop? And do you think the Caribbean should be added to the list due to the government monopolization and the disrespect during the hurricane, accusing Black Americans of something we didn't do, and then not issuing an apology when they found out that the initiator wasn't us? Brooke.
Okay, I'm gonna ask the first question again. I'm gonna answer the first question, and I'm gonna ask you to ask me the second question again. The first question is the African child. I ain't never in my life gave the Africans 1 penny to do my hair. Never. So the boycott been up for me. Like, I've been boycotting them because I've said this before publicly. I had a friend who got her hair done. This was years ago. I want to say like the early 2000s. You know what I mean? And she had gotten when the African braiding shops just started like kind of popping up. You know what I mean? Like as many as they are now. And she had went and got her hair done, and she asked me to help her take the braids out. So I was helping her take it down. Excuse me. And I noticed ribbons of her hair coming out. Like, she had a decent length of hair, like shoulder length, and ribbons of her hair was coming out. And I was like, what happened? Like, what's going on? And she said, oh, they cut the loops. So, like when you braid and sometimes there's a hair that pokes out on the side, and, normal people put a little mousse on it or spray it with a little water and, conditioner or whatever. And then, you let that hair draw up and go back in that braid, right? No, they cut the braid like how you would do with when the hair is just at the bottom, at the end, where there's just the, extension. They were cutting the top of the braids where her real hair was. And that was the ribbons of hair that I was seeing. So that was one of my first things that I noticed about the African braiding shops. And that is why I never, ever in my life spent any money there. So yeah, for me, it's all like people who do not, I don't go to anybody who does not have healing or growing hands, what we call, as foundational Black Americans, we call it growing hands. I don't let anybody in my head who does not have growing hands, who does not have a good spirit, who means bad for me. I was taught that you're not supposed to let that type of person in your head, spiritually. So I'm really confused when I see the family going through some of the things that they're going through, supporting these African braiding shops. Like somebody talking to me crazy and arguing with me. There's no way I would spend money in a place after somebody talked to me like that. I don't care where I'm going, what I need. I'm gonna find somebody else to do it. Like I don't pay money to get treated like garbage. That's unacceptable for me. That's how I was raised. You don't beg people to take your money. That's silly. If they're not going to treat you with respect, you and your greenbacks walk out the door. I don't understand that. And then to hear, some of the nastiness, like them using the same towels and not cleaning the combs. What are y'all doing? Family. And when I mentioned this on Thorough Black Talk, And someone mentioned that it's because the braiders are from third world countries, but we are not. So y'all sitting there letting people treat you like giving you third world country treatment in these braiding shops. No ma'am, not me. So anybody who's, it's not even a boycott for me, it's a way of life. And I'll end it there. And what was the second question? Pardon.
No problem. Let me pull it back up. So Melrose did say he had dropped earlier because he's DJing tonight.
Okay.
Um, Also,
Melrose
your
be
thoughts
booking
about
busy.
adding the Caribbeans to the boycott list due to the government monopolization and the disrespect during the hurricane where they accused Black Americans of something we didn't do and then not issue an apology when they found out it wasn't us. It was actually a Bermudan, I think, a fellow Caribbean. It was not a Black American. Mhm.
I think when it comes to that, one, I think a lot of people who say things like that speak in absolutes, don't live in a place where there are people. I'm not going to live in absolutes because, like I said, I know people who who don't think like that, and I would never put them in the category with people who do. However, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, if a person feels that strongly about it and you don't have anybody that you're close to and you want to speak in absolutes, I don't have no problem with that. Like I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that you're wrong. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna have to agree to disagree because I don't speak in absolutes when it comes to things like that, because like I said, I actually lived amongst them. I was actually the only American, so like I have friends who do not feel that way, who do have businesses, who, you know what I'm saying, matter of fact, who braid hair, you know. And so I'm not going to say that I'm not going to continue to support people that have supported me. Now, of course, now when it comes to, other things and stuff like that, it's always going to be Black American first. But I'm not going to speak in complete absolutes, but I am okay with anybody who feels that way because like I said, I feel like a lot of people who feel that way and speak in absolutes don't live in neighborhoods where there are any other people other than them. And so therefore it is very, they're quick to speak in absolutes. And that's cool. Like I said, we can just, you do you, and like I said, and I'm gonna, but no matter who I'm cool with or friends with or whatever, it's not gonna stop me from fighting for my lineage. And so I'll end the question, I'll end it there.
Yeah. So I'm on board with boycotting them. I think that too much diversity can be harmful. I never lived on a block without an Afro Latina. And after graduation, I wanted to join like a fraternity. I wanted to join, maybe I shouldn't say the name, right? But I wanted to join a fraternity in New York, and every email had a Latino name on it. Due to the fact that I do practice in ATR, I am tapped in with Latinos, but we don't have the issues of me facing microaggressions like when I go around the corner to the nail shop. So I'm definitely not going back to that nail shop because it was confirmed that they do talk about us in their language. When a Black American was sitting there who understood Spanish, you know what I'm saying? One of those type of things there. I think that and to enact change that we do have to pull our dollar back from some people. I can admit that we can have individual relationships with that community, but when I take into account all the things that I'm learning, it's putting into I don't want to disparage the friends that I have. I actually only had one conversation about what was happening with us in the diaspora. She's of Caribbean descent, but she's like multi-ethnic. So her mom is bi-ethnic, but she had the Caribbean presence in her home. So she's more aligned with understanding and loving on the Caribbean. Me too. I kind of love them, but I want to keep my foot on their neck because I know they could do better. I've seen better from them. I have in-laws that do better than them. And I think that to make an impact statement like, look, some things have to change. But I don't have no friends that own brick and mortars and stuff like that. So I might be detached in that way, right? My friends are like nurses, and things like that. So I don't mind boycotting them. I get what you're saying about absolutes and not everybody is harmful to us, but I need those people who's not harmful to us as a Caribbean to start speaking more. For the most part, my friend understood what I was saying. She said, it's such a shame because with numbers, and I said, well, what value did they add to our numbers besides personally? But that's just me. But I get it, Brooke. I truly understand. But for me, I was on the sorority that I wanted to join. I want sisterhood. I want my family. I want people. All my people have either migrated to the South or they have young children. So I don't have the camaraderie that I need. Hey, girl, let's go here and there and that. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's a different outlook. And I'll land there so that, hey, Buki, I'm just finishing up this this interview, and then we could do the intra lineage issues and the sharecropping. So that's where I'm at with it though. But of course we're not a monolith. We're not gonna all think the same, but I get it. I do. I just want like us, a Black American community where we are, partaking in our tradition. Like they have the trail rides. The parade was extremely nice. I really enjoyed myself. I love seeing the flags. I love seeing the camaraderie, and I love knowing that we can go back next year and maybe have more of a foundational Black American presence. So I'll land there with that. Keisha, you want to provide your insight?
Um, I forgot the first question.
No problem. Are the boycotts, the African hair braiding shop boycotts, still in effect?
Oh yeah, I've been done with them. Situation I had with my daughter, um, without my knowledge anyway. So I was done. Um, I think since for about 27, 30 years now. I used to have locks, so I locked my hair. And then after that, I just cut it all off. So anyway, I've been done with them. And anybody that doesn't treat you right and you provide them um, financial earnings, be done with them. I don't care who it is. They don't treat you right, be done with them. Be done. And we got to stand on that as a community. Just staying with the Red Apple Nail Salon. Done. It's over. You know, your videos on YouTube. You don't know how to braid your hair. You can learn. You can learn. Find somebody in the neighborhood. You know, easily can be done. I know some FBA hair braiders who will come to your home and braid your hair for you if you want. You know, we have a lot of resources, so we don't need that. Um, the issue with the Jamaicans and the hurricane. Let me tell you something. I was watching the live stream before the hurricane really took off. And a lot of them were making comments, on this live stream. And one of the comments was, well, at least they're not looting like they did during Hurricane Katrina. Why would you bring that up? Just you out of pocket. So that already ticked me off. Like you said, BX, some of them are on code, but a whole lot ain't. And I'm here for the ones that ain't. It's up for y'all. You understand? We are in divine order right now. Your business is gonna be hurt. We're not buying nothing with you. If we do go to your island, there are resorts that Black Americans own. We will stay there. We're not spending no money with none of y'all. We don't want this smoke. But you asked for it. You started a fire, now you asked for it. And when they found out, like you said, It just gave them a chance to say what they always felt. That's the way I see it. Even though later on it was revealed that the woman was from Bermuda, but that's what y'all always was thinking. And you had diarrhea of the fingers. So you spewed, and we saw. Now you getting G-checked in real time. So be prepared for what's to come. Because right now, the nation, um, here in New York, I'll stick to New York. 34th Street used to be a shopping area. You know, a lot of those spaces are now empty. Go to Midtown. Go along 34th Street, especially on Fifth Avenue side. A lot of them are empty. Business have left the city. People are tired of these liberal immigrant hubs. People are tired of it. You don't believe me? Read Crane's New York. Costs you about $7 an issue, but read it. And it'll tell you what the business community thinks here. That's why they fled to Texas. Texas is booming right now. The people are tired. I'm sorry. Immigration has changed the fabric of this city. I went to a school with a whole lot of black immigrants. Got mad love. But like Breuck said, they stay out of our way. But they ain't fighting for us. I was there when Marley Graham was unalive. I was there to talk to his family. They had a meeting at the Adam Clayton Powell State Building. The Marley Graham family, is from Jamaica. And his father said, and I quote, that when his family came here, they came for a better life. And they asked themselves, why these black folks here go protest and all that when you can earn so much here? He said, we didn't care about those protests. We didn't care to get involved in these things until it happened to me. He said, and I quote, that it was the black Americans who came out for justice for his son. His people were nowhere to be found. But where is the Jamaican community fighting for our reparations? Some of them say we shouldn't even be discussing that. Forget about it. That's what some of them say. Okay, we're going to forget about you instead. Because it's up for everybody. It's up. And they don't know the power of social media. Well, they do. That's the reason why they come up in our spaces. Trying to tell us to cool it. Tell your people to cool it. You should have community meetings. Y'all better leave them black Americans alone. We need them. For the Africans, when the Nafissatou Diallo was essayed by Dominique Strauss-Kahn, my signature is on the petitions that were dropped off on DA Cy Vance's office in Lower Manhattan. I have a copy of it. My signature. There was no Senegalese out there fighting for their own. It was black Americans who got that man to stay here, who put pressure on the district attorney's office to get that man and keep him here so that he could face trial. Black Americans did that. And you got the nerve to have a little synagogue in the city of New York? They didn't do nothing for that woman. What Amadou Diallo? 41 shots. Where y'all was at? It was us. His mother got a big payday. Did she give money to the movement? No. Abner Nawima the plunger rammed up. Black Americans was out there stomping the yard. Where Haitians at for us? So this is what I'm saying. It's up for everybody. That's why they don't put me in these spaces, sis, because I can run this history down. And I'll land there.
Thank you.
Can I add
Before I
something?
go,
Can I add
yeah,
something?
go ahead.
Okay.
Yep.
Specifically, and I said this on Thorough Black Talk, and I'm gonna repeat it here because when Sister Keisha informed us of that, was that a tweet? I don't know what part of social media that was, but the comment where they said, that there was no, they didn't see looting like they did in Katrina, and I said that they are playing with karma and fate. And this was, I believe it was one day. I think it was one day into the hurricane at that point. And I said this was because this was Thursday. I said that they are playing with karma and fate, and that the lies about people are looting were done after they were ignored for 3 days. And I said it will be interesting to see what is going to happen on an island in 3 days after they've been without food, after they've been without water, after they've been in the heat because it's hot, and they have no roofs. They have no shade to be under because there are no roofs. So, and now things are coming out just as I said. Now you see reports of them breaking into stores to get supplies to clean up the road or to get food because they have not eaten in a few days now. They are now doing the very same thing that they were pointing their finger and laughing at our family for doing. And as I said on the live, when it comes to us and what we, and the delineation as far as the hurricane thing, we don't have to take out or seek out revenge on people who are saying these things about us. Because really and truly, all we have to do is nothing. Just nothing. All I have to do is just not care. All I have to do is just not donate. All I have to do, just do nothing. I don't have to go and do anything to you. I can just remove my energy. Like I said, I may not speak in absolutes, but I don't support anybody who's disrespectful to me. I don't, like I said, foreign or domestic, I plays no games. So I don't support anybody who's disrespectful to me or my lineage. And I'll land there. But you see
Thank
that
you,
karma
lady.
coming back on them, though. I will say that.
Yes, I'm in full agreement with you. When you're engaged on these panels and y'all are going back and forth, we going back and forth, I can say, right? You don't think something like what happened in Jamaica would happen. I never seen such Katrina, but I mean in the islands, that they would have been affected like that. And I watched from the hallway a few Jamaican lives, and I seen the people trying to be strong. I seen them, they say Jamaicans have a begging gene, but the way they was talking, trying to keep up the spirits, telling us, yeah, the rain is falling now, man, and send up our rules out of here, So they was doing that there, and my heart was breaking, right? And then I scroll on, and the people who are in Jamaica are actually on here cutting up at us. It got to the point, I don't even know if y'all were in the room or not when I was just going at them. Get off of this if you're not talking about what's going on with your people. If you can't give me a unaliving toll, how many were unalive? What is the cleanup? How y'all getting blankets? How y'all crowdfunding? Like, I was shutting them down. You're not going to get to talk. One girl thought she should go at me, but we've had a little tussle before. She wasn't getting that. No, automatically what they do. Your baby father is Jamaican. You should let that go. I said, how you know? He's my baby father. You didn't do. You know who my baby father is? My children's father, rather, because they're grown. Unless I told you, you're not. This not no aha moment. You're deflecting from everything that I'm saying because you can't answer me. You don't even know if that man is unalive or alive. Like, you know absolutely nothing except the fact that he's Jamaican. Now, what that got to do with the price of tea in China and what your island is going through? I heard the tiredness in her soul going back and forth with me. She was just like, oh, let it go. Then I came in one room. She didn't know I was coming in. She left. I noticed she wasn't keeping up all that big chat in them comments. This is what I'm saying. Like, their priorities is wrong. And like I told people, and I understand exactly where Breuck is coming from. I'm invested in the island. I've been there a couple of times. It's a beautiful island. I never felt such peace than when that sun hit my skin. And I may talk all this shit and still donate if they show me they need a generator. This is what they need. If I have it, I live in New York. I don't get food stamps, y'all. That makes me angry when they say that shit, EBT babies. Because we don't all get food stamps. However, I think that I personally, I'm going to divest from them. I haven't had ackee and saltfish in a while. I know how to make it, but just think by the ingredients. It's easier for them to make it. It's their dish. You know, but really,
their food. I feel like since COVID, all the good chefs left. I don't really support their restaurants. One, they're nasty, and if the food, and their attitude, like the way they talk to people, is nasty, and then the food is not that good anymore either. So I don't. I'm gonna be honest. I've been stopped since COVID. I haven't really supported their restaurants as much because I feel all the good chefs left. Right. I'm gonna be honest with you. The food has not been the same since COVID. Everything is mad salty or mad sweet. Either they put in mad sugar or mad salt. I can't take it. I do a lot of cooking.
I'm sorry.
I support them already. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Yeah. I think it's the first generationers or maybe the seconds that don't really know how to cook, that wasn't in the kitchen with their granny. If the food is like that, you kind of correct. I gotta find the cooking golden crust is tasting better than a lot of the home kitchen
and that's
restaurants.
Crazy. That golden crust is the one place that's kind of like, at least the food is constant. You know what I mean? Like the whatchamacallit. But I'm telling you, the food is not the same. So I don't support them, and I don't really support their restaurants anymore anyway, because the food is not good. And like I said, their customer service is not the greatest. So, it's like, so a lot of the things that, people are saying to divest in, I've already done it. You know what I mean? For other reasons.
Yeah.
Not even for those, but other reasons that I feel are legitimate. Like I said, everything has too much salt or too much sugar. Either way, you putting sugar in the greens. I can't take it anymore. I've had enough. I've had enough. And then you pay all this money for a plate, and then you don't even want to eat it. I got tired of wasting I don't got money to be wasting like that. You know what I'm saying? I need to be able to eat the food that I buy. So I've been stopped going to the restaurants and supporting, because like I said, the food is not the same.
Yeah. So that seems like it's good for us who live in New York, a very diverse place. It would have to be like a personal decision, and that's just where we're at with it. But I ain't opposed to boycotting them, and I ain't opposed to feet and hands if they get out of line in the physical realm, not the digital, because they do be yapping too much. But I loved this interview. So Buki has joined. Buki is my co-host for How to Heal Interlineage Issues While Combating Ethnocide. And we're supposed to talk about Black American history. And today I felt like maybe we'll focus on sharecropping or whatever comes out. We'll always deflect to that. I'm going to give you ladies, well, Breuck especially, because Keisha been through my vibe check before. It's just a multiple choice question. Like, do you prefer this over that? As a Black American, I want to see how you answer, right? So, Breuck, fried or smothered meat?
Mother. I
Smothered. Okay.
I need a lot of it. I need gravy on everything, swimming in it. I need my rice swimming in gravy. I need my mashed potatoes swimming in gravy, okay? Everything, gravy. Boom. Yeah, that was easy. Next.
Okay. Dressing or stuffing?
I don't like either one. I'm gonna be honest. I'm weird. I don't like either one. I'm good on it.
But do you know the difference between dressing and stuffing?
No, because I don't eat either one. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of either one. Stuffing I think is like more bready, and dressing has a little bit more, stuff in it, like herbs and onions and peppers and stuff, I think.
So for me, this is my interpretation of it because I use them interchangeably, right? But I noticed that stuffing is what you put inside the chicken or the turkey, and dressing is what you put in the pan. And you might add. My mom, she adds like sausage stuff like that. My grandmother loves dressing, but in my house, the way I was raised with my stepmom and my dad, is stuffing. We had stuffing. She always stuffed the bird. But yeah, so I figured I'd ask that because one lady was saying something to a foundational Black American. She's like, "PX, is this true about New York FBA? Because I don't think she really FBA." Like I really get those questions, and they will ask them about our food, and that's how I know if they're lying or not. So pecan pie, sweet potato pie, or pumpkin pie?
Sweet potato.
Yes, I'm with you. Kool-Aid or Tang?
Kool-Aid. Tang is nasty.
I agree with you. Tropicana or Sunny Delight?
Tropicana. Sunny D is disgusting.
Yeah, I'm with you. Soda or pop? Do you call it soda or pop?
Soda.
Is there a difference? Like, what is the difference? Or is there a difference? Soda is pop and pop is soda, correct?
Yes, they are the same thing. Like it's regional for sure.
Okay.
Black Northerners, Black Americans up north, we say soda. Um, I believe that cold drink is a Southern thing.
Uh-huh.
Chicago, they say pop because so they call
Thank you
like
for
where's it
coming, Keisha. I appreciate you. Keisha's gonna drop.
okay it's it's like Chicago, they call soda actually like they call soda to describe club soda. So they be like club soda because they feel like people gonna think when you say soda is going they talking about club soda. So it's like it's different ways, but we it all means like the same thing. It's just
Okay.
different regional terminology for it.
Thank you. So Brooke, there would be no Nas without Rakim. Brooke, true or
Pardon.
false?
I'm at work, so I'm
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll speed it up.
okay. Yeah, I'm like multitasking here. So what was the rest of the question? I'll try
It
to answer.
was. I was saying there would be no Nas without Rakim. True or false?
True.
False. True.
He
Thank
said
you.
that. He said that.
Okay. Eminem or Tupac? Who's the rap god?
Tupac.
Pac, right?
Yeah, Eminem, Tupac, of course.
Okay. You know. Name the queen of hip hop. And I know rap is subjective, but who would you name the queen of hip hop?
Queen of hip hop. I can tell you. I can just tell you one of my favorite rappers that people don't really talk about a lot. And Left Eye was one of my favorite rappers. I
Philly.
won't call I won't call her the queen or anything like that, but I would just say that people don't really mention her name a lot when they talk about hip hop. But Left Eye really was one of my favorite rappers, and I think that she doesn't get enough shine. And her mindset was way ahead of the time, and I think
North
that's
Philly.
so. I'm just gonna give her an honorable mention.
Thank you. I don't really have one, but I can tell you who was my teenage chocolate representation, like my dark skin representation. Like she was just everything to me. Box braids, everything, her style. Um, for me that was Sweet Tea. She was my representation. But I love MC like hardcore, and that's not. I'm not enacting colorism, but I mean growing up as one of the darkest complected amongst my group, where everybody was caramel and above. Sweet Tea was just it for me, and I love her to this day.
I want to say something real quick.
Yeah,
BX, colorism doesn't apply to like lighter skin tone women because colorism it's just like reverse racism,
futurism,
how it
right?
don't exist. So colorism is a system to hold down dark skinned people. So you don't. So what you said had nothing to do with colorism. You was
It's
acknowledging the fact.
futurism.
It features you didn't say anything about their noses or lips or eyes or anything like that,
Right.
because there's light skinned people who have big noses and big lips and have black features, but you didn't say anything like that. You acknowledged that you had a representation. That's what you said. You didn't say anything negative. But when it comes to colorism, that term was solely used to acknowledge the things that dark skinned black people go through. Just like there's no such thing as reverse colorism or reverse racism. Because yes, you can be bullied, but being bullied is not the same thing as colorism because your light skin bring privileges. Not saying you because you are a dark skinned woman, but light skin bring privileges. Dark skin in a lot of ways do have privileges, but because we know that how dark skinned people are treated, that is always in a harmful way to dark skinned people. So what you was saying was not colorist.
Thank you for that.
Hmm.
I just have two more vibe check questions for you, Brooke. I want you to name the best rap group ever. Like, who would be your favorite rap group? And you can also include a group from the past.
Do duos consider groups?
Yeah, I would say it was a group.
Hmm.
But let
Okay.
Brooke go first, because I know she's at work. She may have to get ready to go.
Yeah, I'll tell you my favorite rap group. I'm gonna talk about some Brooklynites, so some underground hip hop that people don't really know. I love the boot camp clip with Black Moon and okay, and Black Moon and Helter Skelter and the original Gun Clappers. When I was that was one of my favorite rap groups from Brooklyn. I loved them, and they're very underground. I know people probably don't even know what the heck I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking
Um,
about.
but okay, all right. They from Brownsville, and yeah, and then I loved MOP. Like
Yeah.
I was a big MOP fan. I really liked Wu Tang. If anybody's seen that Wu Tang show they got on Hulu, you got to check that out because I never knew that Raekwon and Ghostface tried to pew pew each other. Yeah, so like I loved finding out about the backstory about Wu-Tang. I was a big Wu-Tang fan. I was a real big hip-hop head back in the day, as you can tell by who my favorites are. But I don't really listen anymore because I'm at the age now where those lyrics don't really resonate with me anymore. And I see the problem from the lyrics, and so I don't even really listen to a lot of music. I'm most of the time I'm studying and documentaries and listening to audio books and things like that. So I can't really, I'm not as well versed in hip hop as I used to be. But yeah, I used to really be digging in them crates. You know what I mean?
Yup. And so and I'm with you. Uh, but I do have a little what they say, my guilty pleasure. And people go, I don't even want to tell y'all, but BX can't be no punk. I love the song "Crazy Story" by King Von and the remix with Lil Durk on it. And my son made me stop playing it. And he was like, "Ma, if you don't stop playing that song for the simple fact that they would really pew pew the door." I said, "Really? All the way in New York? Are you serious?" And he said, "Yeah, and I can't play it because my son, he gets a little nervous when I play it." I said, "Okay, son," and I really stopped listening to it. But I love that song by King Von. So the final um vibe check question is: Malcolm X deserve his own holiday, and how would you celebrate it?
Oh, wow. Absolutely. How would I celebrate it? Dang, girl, that was a good one.
Because I've been saying he need his own holiday since forever.
Honestly, I think we should celebrate it by there's a documentary that Dr. Short sent me. It's called Oh My God Farard. I think we should celebrate it by learning what he learned about the nation and what he was involved in. And I think that's how we should celebrate it with truth, by bringing truth to power. And anybody can DM me, because I'm realizing, maybe some of the links you're not able to click on. You could DM me for the link to that documentary. I will definitely send it to you. It's on YouTube. It's about 4 hours long. It is worth every second. And yeah, so that's how, yes, he deserves his own holiday. I would love to see that happen. And that's how I would celebrate it, by letting people know the truth about certain things that are happening and certain people that are happening, and what he experienced. And I'll land there.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful answer. I would add some food to the menu. Black Americans, we
Yes,
gotta
yes,
have some good
gotta
food.
eat.
Yes. Does
Definitely have
anybody?
munchies while we watch the documentary, okay?
Yeah. Does anybody have an update on the case that his family has brought against the NYPD and I believe the FBI?
Um, no, I actually don't have an update, but I know that the young man, well, he is in his 70s now, who was falsely accused, he's suing also. So Malcolm's 5 daughters, I believe that before his one of the twins passed away, he had 6. Before one of the twins passed away, that's when they started the lawsuit. But I actually haven't looked into it. I totally forgot about it. I forgot that they had a lawsuit. But in my opinion, like I'm conflicted about that. I want him to 100% have his own holiday, but I don't know how I would feel if white tea people had the day off and got paid. That's the
I
same.
know.
That's the same thing that happened on Martin Luther King Day and on Martin Luther King birthday. I
That's
don't
what I
like
was
it.
gonna say about Juneteenth as well. I didn't see
Yeah,
why white people should get the day off on Juneteenth when it just didn't
yeah.
make sense. So I
They're
agree.
literally the reason why Juneteenth exists. Like I don't understand why that, and that made me so mad, and it irritated me. And honestly, how I think we should celebrate. I love the fact that his daughters turned, the Audubon Bomb Room into the Shabazz Center. It's so
Hmm.
beautiful. And they put on these gatherings every year for his birthday. And I think that would be a beautiful place to go and just be in the Shabazz Center and see what they did for both of their parents, and all the a room that I haven't been, because I had a friend who went, and they said that it is a little eerie because that is the place he died. But the fact that they was able to, I mean, passed away, is the way they was able to turn it into something meaningful and powerful. I love it, but I don't know if I would go, just because like how much I love Malcolm, and I know I would just boo-hoo cry and be
Oh.
emotional. Yeah,
What did they exactly turn it into?
the Shabazz Center is
Right. But
it's
what's in the Shabazz Center?
it's
What's in
like
there?
I don't want to call it a museum, but it's a lot of things focused on Malcolm, like his teachings, his learning. It's a lot of his own pieces in there, a lot of his
Hmm.
writings. Um, You in New York. If you have a library card, you can get in there for free, just like all the other museum in New York.
The library just sent me something, and I said, this is uncanny because Keisha was telling me, and I gotta find the mail. I got a pile of mail I gotta go through. Keisha was telling me the last time that she came to the panel, about the historical societies, and I think if I have a library card, I could get in some of those for free. You was telling me, correct?
Yeah, you 100% get into. You could get into, and you could get a library card from each library in New York, from each borough, and you could get into anywhere. And also, you and being a New Yorker, you could pay whatever you want on certain days in any library. And I know the Schomburg let you in with just like a card. I don't quote me because I don't know if they still
Yeah.
do it.
Well,
I don't
I'll
know.
call first before I go anywhere because I don't like to look crazy going there.
Yeah.
But I thought it was just, yeah. So I'm gonna say this to Brooke. Brooke, if you want to drop from the panel, you can. But I really appreciate that you and Brother Devine took your time out. Keisha and everybody else who visited the panel, Afro Elite, and those in the chat, to sit and talk with me and have this interview. I would definitely like a part two, where everybody's on the panel. You, Keisha, Brother Divine, Melrose, and we just have us a nice little New York convention right here. I think it's good. I think that for the most part, we can't expect these mainstream podcasts such as Joe Budden. Um, Although I think he does, for the most part, try to say certain things. Like those who try to take up for us, they seem to drop the ball. At least we could tell the real of it. We don't have to worry about sponsorship, being taken, offending anybody or anything. We're just telling the real of the history of New York and the steps that we are taking as New York FBA to keep the lineage together. And I kind of want to explore the options of the parade. I do see some people who said, well, I could put in for a float, and I think that, so, oh, we got to shout out that song, Foundational Black Americans by All Viral Access Media, I think it is. That song is really hitting. When I saw the fitted with the Timbs, and I said they were by the bodega, I said, oh, really, New York? I'm so proud of them. And we do have Brother KD who joins our panel sometimes. He says he has a rap song. I forget the title, but he says, we didn't ask for no background dancers. We ain't asked for no background dancers. And I believe it's about the flags to Mana Leo's video. Like, why were they in the background type stuff? So I really enjoyed this panel today. I really appreciate you and Brothers Divine and Sister Keisha and Melrose, all the things that y'all are doing for New York FBA, because a win for New York FBA is a win for all, just like Cali. And maybe, Brooke, does Brother Divine plan on having a Zoom call anytime soon with any updates so that I could just sit there and listen to like what's going on? What would I like to see focused on? I don't know. So he
Um,
got to
we
go
don't
ahead.
have any plans right at this second, but we kind of, we going as we see things that need to be done. You know what I mean? So that's basically what is happening with us in the Zoom calls. It's not something that we necessarily had planned. We saw something needed to be done, so we had a call to talk about it.
Okay. Okay. All right, cool. If I need any more information, I'll just hit one of y'all inbox. So again, I'm gonna say thank you because I could keep you here all night just saying goodbye. I can. But if you have to get back to work, I definitely understand that. Brooke,
I guess the last one, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm multitasking.
it's
So,
okay.
um, the last thing I will say is, I know somebody in the chat wanted to hear the rest of what happened at the nail shop. Maybe we could do that on a part two because I don't think I'll be able to get through it now.
Okay.
And I also promised people on Twitter that we would address the fact that, let me let people know that I said this in the chat, that Arthur We are not together. That is not the same organization. We are not the same organization. Arthur and his organization are doing what they do, and whatever they do has nothing to do with the work that we're doing for reparations in New York. I also saw where somebody was talking about some other names. They were talking about, I think it was Yvette and Antonio. I don't even know who Antonio is. Yvette, I've heard this name before, but neither one of those people have been. I've been at damn near every single hearing. Neither one of them have been at a single hearing. Neither one of them had a meeting with a single legislator. Neither one of them had a single town hall where they're explaining to legislators and the people about what disaggregation, delineation, and a constitutionally sound bill is. The only organization that did that was in New York City or New York State is the U.S. Freedmen Project. I see people trying to get donations based off of testimonies that were of people who were holding our flyers in their hand because they stood in solidarity with us. Whoever you posted, everybody who was posted had our flyer in their hand and sent emails on our behalf because they stood with the U.S. Freedmen Project and what we are doing and the work we are doing. So anybody else trying to accept donations off of the work that we have done is crazy to me.
Hello.
It's crazy to me. So I just want people to understand that, who's actually doing the work and who's not, because I told you I'm always going to have the U.S. Freedmen Project in the elders' backs.
Yes. And I totally get what you're saying. I seen a lady post, well, after what I saw at the reparations hearing, New York, we got to get to the honeycomb hideout and have a meeting. And a lot of people sent me this video, right? Some I answered, and some who I feel could understand where I'm coming from. I said this. I said, that lady showed up when Tyreek went on Afro Live. She didn't say much, but she made a video how she was on the stage with Tariq, and it was a little, funny looking. I said, I'm from New York, and I'm not just meeting anybody. I'm not going to any honeycomb hideout for it to become my honeycomb grave or my honeycomb jail sentence for trying to protect myself. I said, if she's really tapped in, she'll know how to meet us. Because I met a couple of people who activate in real life, and that was at an event. She's got to have a more stronger presence on these here apps so I could get a real feel for her before I just go meeting anybody. Because where did she come from? And there's like, no, BX, I understand. Because you can't just go around meeting people. And my children have a very good sixth sense. And usually, when somebody's either in my inbox or saying we should meet up, one of them's calling me like, Ma, don't you be meeting these people on the internet? I had to say, Dan, do they have my password? But they don't. So I understand. We don't know certain people and they just pop up and claim to be associated with somebody, and that's not really the case. So we have to do our due diligence before handing any money to anybody. Can you tell us the website? Like, go to the official website and see how you can contact Brother Devine and even Sister Breuck. Contact her to see how you're going to donate, if you choose to donate, and I hope that you do because it's a really good purpose. Brooke, and that's my last question, I promise. What's the
That would
official
be
website?
usfreemanproject.org. I'll put it in the chat because I believe I have it already on my clipboard. Yes, that is where you can donate. And the website that I was putting in the chat the whole time, that one is for. the things, we have been doing like in the back channels and things like that because of that kind of opposition that we've been having. So a lot of, strategy meetings, I'm not gonna be posting anymore when the meetings are coming up. We're not doing that anymore because, like I said, it doesn't seem to be increasing the amount of us that's there. It seems to be increasing the amount of opposition that is there. So therefore, we're going to re-strategize. We're good with the team that we have. Like I said, we have a small but strong team. And so, so we're going to start, moving a lot of our preparations ahead of time. We'll talk about it after the fact, but we'll ahead of time. This is why New Yorkers like to move in silence, because we know that when we don't, it puts us on the radar. But when we were moving in silence, people were thinking that we weren't moving at all. So now, because we're not moving in silence, now we got a lot of people just trying to grift onto what we've already done, or to what the U.S. Freedmen Project has already done, trying to get donations on what they've already done, trying to act like they were involved in what we've already done, and because they see what we're actually doing, what we have done. And so so that's why if you go to that page, or the Breuck call to actions page, I'll be putting when the next meeting is there, but I will not be posting it, and I hope that the family won't be posting it either, and staying in solidarity with us, so we can move in silence as much as we can. And yes, please send those emails. We really, really need the emails. And yes, that's it. I'm gonna put everything in the chat again. And that's it. All right. Thank you. Let me just say this real quick. Thank you so much for having us on your platform and getting us acclimated to the tiki-taki and pushing us to even do this. And we appreciate you so much.
Thank you. And everybody, Breuck has a skincare line that I use, and even my medical doctor says your skin looks so much better. So you could go on my page and you'll see her skincare line. It's called Even Melanin. And y'all could go get that, grab that. Very affordable, very good, and it works. Support a true foundational Black American business. And maybe the next live that we do together, Breuck, you'll tell us more about the inspiration for your business and how we can help support you or spread the word even. I'll land there. She's at work. So Buki, I've been on this live for about 5 hours. So what I want to do is just shut down for 10 minutes, so that this live could be one of its own, because I was interviewing the U.S. Freedmen, and then just grab something to drink and I'll be right back up. I promise.
It's okay. I'm sorry about that. It was because I knew you wanted to start at 11, but I didn't want to be talking on the bus because I got off of work at 9:50 because I actually had to take on someone's shift because somebody got fired at work today. So I had to
Oh,
take
wow.
on that shift. And by the time I got here, y'all was already on live talking.
It's okay.
Yeah, 5 hours is a long time.
Yeah, but we could still do our segment. I don't mind.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to start cooking anyway. Yeah, we can still do it.
Well, do you want to cook? Are you free tomorrow? I'm coming back live at 4.
At 4.
Mm-hmm.
I clock in at work at 4. When is good time for you?
What about 12? Is that good?
12. Because I don't like 12 at night. I don't know if everybody. No, not 12
PM, 12 p.m.
Oh, okay. I'm off. I believe Wednesday and Thursday. Yeah, I know I'm off Thursday, and I think I'm off Wednesday, but it's either Tuesday or Wednesday. It's one of them days.
Mm-hmm.
How is your schedule for Wednesday and Thursday?
Give me a date. Where is Wednesday's date? So the 3rd, I have an appointment. I'm free. I'm actually free.
Okay. I'm free all day. Yeah, that's my day off.
So 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? That should be a good time.
Yeah, that should be a good time.
What day? Wednesday or Thursday?
It could be either day because I'm checking my schedule now. I'm free Wednesday and Thursday.
So let's do Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I have my research done and my notes ready. So,
Okay, and we're talking about sharecropping.
right. Do you have anything else you would want to talk about?
No, I think that is the best way to talk about the I think that's the a good issue to speak about because a lot of people forget about that period between slavery and Jim Crow. Well, Jim Crow started directly after slavery, but I'm talking about the civil rights movement. A lot of people forget that it's the Reconstruction period where our ancestors was freed, yeah, but a lot of them didn't just leave the plantation. They stayed there and still worked for the things that they were doing when they was enslaved. Like they was like, hey, we can give you food and board. We're not paying you. And they stayed on that same place that had them enslaved. And a lot of them had their children and their children's children. A lot of
Wow.
our FBA brothers and sisters, their grandparents was born on tobacco and cotton plantations and worked them. They was multi-generational. That's the craziest part about it. When you think, when people, well, that's crazy. No, it's not crazy because you don't know no one's story. So I feel like we should, because that period is a period that we need to talk about more. People feel like we just jumped from slavery to, civil rights. No, it was like a whole era that we always leave out.
Can I add something?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Reconstruction, child. They forget about Reconstruction. That was a whole nother war.
Yeah.
After the Civil War, there was the Reconstruction War. You know what I mean? And I'll,
Mhm.
I'll, I'll land there.
Yeah.
Let me say this about Reconstruction. When I first came on this app, had some Pan African ideology, right? And it wasn't hard for me to pick a side when I seen what the Africans and how they were treating Black Americans who identified as Black American over African American. After engaging on some of the panels, I said, I don't want to be going through this. Maybe it's a lack of education on everybody's part. And you know what part I chose to build my platform after? I had a whole segment repairing the foundational Black American community, right? And it was focused on Reconstruction, y'all. It was. And I learned so much about the radical Republicans and things of that nature. And around that time, I found out that one of my great grandparents from South Carolina actually lived in Hamburg, South Carolina, which is now a ghost town due to racial violence. So I be up here like I descend from people that I descend from a ghost town. Like, what is we talking about? If y'all don't have that history, I be going off on them. But
We
Reconstruction
need
is
to talk, BX.
yes, we could talk.
Me too.
Yeah, but she's on the Freedmen
My
record.
family's from McCormick. That's what it is now. McCormick, South Carolina.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, you gotta take because I'm like a northerner, and for some reason they took me to Georgia. My granny with her husband. I figured he was from there. South Carolina. We used to go visit her great aunt. No, her aunt, my great aunt. But that was Bluffton, South Carolina, because her great uncle, well, my great uncle, her uncle in law, became the mayor, I think, of Bluffton. So he was like the first Black mayor of that town. So I never been to like Edgefield and stuff. I don't even know what county's next to what county. That's why I don't go around talking about I'm from South Carolina. Yeah, I'm a Geechee. I'm not doing that. My father is a South Carolinian man. My grandmother took me to South Carolina to visit her family. That's two opposite sides. So, and my granny, his mother is gone. So, but I do know what I found from genealogy, Freedmen records, and everything. So I'm pretty good with genealogy. I really am. But we can really talk because I still have the names of my ancestors, Brooke, and we could compare notes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Yes. So you heard us say Wednesday at 3. If you free, even if you stop by for 10 minutes just to see the direction of the panel of the live and you want to contribute something, that's fine. But we could also talk in the back chat too about our genealogy because I don't really tell a lot of people like names, dates, stuff like that. Because these people are crazy, bro. They go around, they
Part.
take the
That's
pictures.
why I said we could talk on the back channels because I don't discuss that either. You know what I mean? I'm not nah. That's nobody's business. You know what I
Okay.
mean? But
Yeah.
yeah, we definitely need to talk, just you and I.
Okay, no problem. You know I'm here for you. I am. And on that note, I'm going to say love, peace, light, and reparations to my foundational Black Americans for real. And Buki identifies as African American / Black American. She's not a label banger, as we would say, but she's definitely down for the lineage. She knows the history. She is of the lineage,
I
okay?
am a
And where's
villager,
your
yeah.
people from?
My people is from, we've been in Philly for 86 years, but a small town in North Carolina called Windsor, Bertie County. And
Okay.
before then, it was Virginia. My family had been enslaved in Virginia from 1733. Well, prior, because that's the year my eighth great grandmother was born. But she was 46 when she watched America get its independence. She was still enslaved in Virginia. And then I have the marriage license of my of four of my grandparents. I found that on a search because you remember what's his name? He used to have it up here, but then they found out he was married to a white woman, so he deleted his page. But he called himself the love poet, the former love poet. What was his name? You remember? He was the black genealogist who was helping people. He had the glasses.
Oh, are you talking about Walter?
Yeah, what his
He's married to a white tea woman? I know. I
yep.
be minding my business over
Yeah,
here.
and that's why he put his TikTok page down. But Walt, his links really help. Like I searched so much and found so much with that. But my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, he's from St. Helena's Island. He is Geechee. He from South Carolina. So that's the only um grandparent I have who is South Carolina. Well, and his parents who's from South Carolina. But I
I
don't
knew you
claim
were from
Geechee.
the Carolinas.
Yeah, I'm from the Carolinas. Oh, and because my great grandmother father, his family is North Carolina, North Carolina, North Carolina. But her mother's line is Virginia. So so my grandparents and parents are from North Carolina. And my grandma and daddy family, both sides is North Carolina. So my family is mostly from North Carolina. I only have like one line that's from Virginia, and of course my grandfather, his family from South Carolina. They've been there for generations on that island until he migrated up north.
You know what's a migration path that we don't talk about, or a reverse migration path that's rarely mentioned to me? And I'm talking about in the scheme of things as like New York, Virginia to New
Yep.
York. And then I got all my cousins, my older cousins, well, not all of them, but quite a few that moved down to Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And my
good.
stepmom was from Virginia. And she
Yeah.
came to Brooklyn. She moved to New York when she was 2 with her mom. So,
Oh wow. Yeah.
yeah.
Um um
They're
Dapper
from
Dan
Nansama.
Dapper Dan wrote about that in his book.
Who?
We Dapper
Dapper
Dan.
Dan?
Yeah, because
Ah.
his father and his parents are from South Carolina. So his mother is bi-ethnic and his father is bi-ethnic. And he had one grandparent who was a slave, like his grandfather was a slave. And his that's his dad parents, and his paternal grandmother was Mohawk Indian, and his mother is African American, and her mother, but she's like a generation removed from slavery. So I don't believe her mom was a slave. I believe her mother was a slave, but her father was Jamaican, but she didn't grow up with him. And so he talked about how when his parents came up from South Carolina, how New York was each borough. He was like they were like little small southern, states. He said he didn't meet nobody from North Carolina until he went to Brooklyn. So, and he's from South Carolina. And then he said Virginia was somewhere else. His book is really good. He really paint the Great Migration in like a way because he grew up towards the end of the Harlem Renaissance.
Uh-huh.
So it wasn't it the Harlem Renaissance never ended, but it wasn't as vibrant as it was. He still was seeing the art and stuff like that, and he was still going down south to visit his family. But the way he literally paints the picture of New York and how he said it was like the South. He said, they kept their doors open at night. They had bricks propped up in their doors. He said they trusted each other, and then slowly but surely, gentrification started happening.
Mm-mm-mm. Did he consider the immigrant class, like the melanated ones, gentrifiers?
I don't think so because he is Pan African. His mother
Ah,
was a what is it called? Garvey Knight. Garvey.
Garveyite.
Yes, his
Yeah,
mother was very much so on the back to Africa thing. All black people is black. She was a black American with Pan African ideologies.
gotcha.
Yep.
But I'm a really click off now. So Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and everybody who's still in the room is welcome to come. And Brooke, I would really love if you come, if you can, and join the panel. On that note, love, peace, light, and reparations to my foundational Black Americans and my African American over there on the panel. All right, I love y'all for real.
I love you too. Bye.
Bye bye.